Are you allowed to legally stream video games on live streams on social media? Let's talk to your IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out more.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, we talk a lot here about what we can and cannot live stream, and a question that keeps coming up over and over and over again is whether or not professional or enthusiastic gamers are able to stream the video games that they are playing legally without any copyright infringement. So can you break this down for us?
Yeah, so I have to say the video game streaming space has evolved drastically, at least over the past 10 years. And I would say what was once a taboo type of thing, because obviously you're talking about copyrighted material, has not really become so taboo anymore. And I think it's because of the money that's involved in it. So let's kind of address the elephant in the room. Every video game out there is registered likely as a copyright and is protected under copyright law. Now, that said, what exactly within the video game is protected? It's more or less going to be the characters, the storyline, the setting, what have you. There are tons of first-person shooter games out there. So that aspect of it is not necessarily copyrightable, but the storyline in games like Halo or Call of Duty or other video games out there that are first-person shooter games, those are going to be worthy of the copyright protection. Sports games, there are tons of different football games out there, or basketball games. Those games, again, the function of pressing X to shoot or pressing Y to pass, those are the kinds of functions that are too common among other sports games, but the game content itself, the way it's designed, the way it's set up, all of that, that's what's worthy of copyright protection. And that, I think, generally applies across the board for all types of games out there. Now, that said, when we're talking about video game streaming, obviously when you're playing a video game, you're playing copyrighted material. That's not up for debate. And I think at one point there were video game developers that were taken aback by this type of new wave of YouTube content out there, because it's in their eyes it was no different than uploading the entirety of a film onto YouTube. And oftentimes it would lead to takedown notices because there wasn't proper permission, there weren't proper clearances, what have you. But I think that people realized, especially as gaming became a bigger deal on the YouTube space and more broadly on platforms like Twitch and even Steam, I think has a streaming service as well. But all that to say, these platforms realize that there's money to be made. You can literally sit on your chair and you can play a video game for hours and make thousands of dollars. If I had a time machine to go back in time to tell my parents that the video games I played were worthwhile, maybe I wouldn't be here talking to you. But who knows? Law school maybe would have been beckoning. Either way, all that to say that this is obviously a very lucrative business. So I think video game developers caught on with the need to kind of embrace it rather than reject it. So what you're going to see now, if you go on YouTube or Twitch or any other platform, is that games can be streamed. Usually the games are registered if we're talking more specifically in the context of YouTube, they're registered in the content ID system. So anytime a video game streamer plays the video game or uploads a video that features that video game, it's going to be kind of like no different than a royalty split if you feature someone else's music commercially. There has to be some type of, I guess there is a portion of the revenue from plays that goes to the video game developer, but the creator retains the remainder. So there is that component to it as well. But for the most part, as long as the streamer is providing the commentary and a lively commentary, that is what inherently provides that transformative quality that is part of the first prong in the fair use doctrine, which we've talked about plenty of times. Remember, fair use operates as a defense to copyright infringement so long as you're using someone else's work for criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research. And surely when you're talking about, oh, look at me playing Madden NFL, and that was a great pass that I gave to my receiver, that type of commentary and then some is the kind of thing that would qualify as, I think, certainly a viable commentary that would satisfy the first prong of the fair use doctrine. So that kind of thing, I think, is totally fine, and that surely should be embraced. If you're uploading just the game itself and you playing it without any commentary, that's when it's a little bit more muddy waters.
Mhm.
There are certain games like Minecraft or Roblox that are more like open universe, public domain kind of thing. So I think that you can kind of get away with those types of games. But what I will say is, you still are not immune from the other types of outlier copyright issues. So I was telling Cam before we were recording, one thing that comes to mind is music. There are certain games out there, since I was mentioning sports games earlier, a lot of the sports games out there like NBA 2K or Madden NFL or MLB The Show, they usually feature third-party music that the developers license to incorporate as part of the game soundtrack. That, at the end of the day, the copyright for those songs does not belong to the video game developers. It belongs to the record labels and the music publishers, the copyright owners of the actual sound recording and the underlying musical composition, respectively. So if you want to use some band's song in the context of your video game streaming, beware, because you're probably going to get a takedown notice from that label or from the publisher or both, saying that you're using their music in a manner that is commercial, that requires an additional license. Yes, it's licensed for use in the context of the game, but they would view your use of it in some other type of outlier context. So if, what you'll often see with a lot of video game streamers is they'll mute all music. So that way you don't hear anything, maybe just the natural gameplay or maybe just the natural sounds of the game itself. But that is the extent of maybe the broader IP issues that exist with video game streaming. But all that to say, like I said, what was once taboo, I think is highly embraced. And I think there's no doubt about it. The video game streaming platform is a very thriving business. And, I think a lot of developers caught on and realized its marketability. And that's why we're not at least seeing the propensity of, infringement cases or legal issues popping up as prevalently as we did see once upon a time.
And of course, if you do have questions on a specific game, you can always reach out to the developers. You can make sure you are checking their terms of service on their website. You can make sure that you're speaking to your lawyer for guidance on this as well. And if you get something like a cease and desist, make sure you are associating yourself with your lawyer, having that conversation over there, and then coming back. We have lots of videos on fair use. We've got lots of videos that can help you find the right lawyers. So make sure you're checking out our playlist as well. And then you can go forth and game on your live streams as you are creating your content. For more questions related to the legal side of live streaming and business, you can drop those down below because Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. You can check out my entertainment law podcast called End Scene. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
For questions down below as we continue to help you navigate the world of live streaming and marketing on social media to make this your most profitable and most stress-free year ever. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.